Welcome to the Scottish Property Podcast. This is a show where we aim to educate, inspire and entertain through real life stories and interviews from people in the Scottish property community.
As always, thanks for listening and give us a follow on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Remember to join us at our monthly networking events on the first Wednesday of every month. Tickets are available on our website. So without further ado, we'll just cut straight into this week's podcast. Elaine McLaren, welcome to Scottish Property Podcast. It's been a long time coming. Good to see you in the studio.
Yes, thank you very much for inviting me on.
Thank you for joining us.
It's great to see you because obviously you talked at the Glasgow networking event in front of maybe about 60 people and you did a fantastic job. Really good story. So there's a lot to share with the listeners here. Like you've been through a few ups and downs along the way, I think it's fair to say. And you've built a really good, strong portfolio and still very active to this day. We're going to touch on how you got into property, how you managed to build a buy-to-let portfolio. You're currently working on some flips or a flip and a CMO as well, just happening.
Yep, busy.
A lot to talk about, plus running a family as well. And obviously what stresses.
The hardest job.
Aye, what comes with that as well, as we can all kind of relate to. So let's just start right at the beginning then. Where did you grow up?
Where?
Yeah, where are you from?
I am from a wee place called Scotstoun, just past Glasgow Airport. So
nice one. What's your memories of growing up? Did you grow up amongst, was your mum and dad into property?
Yes. So my dad, just as a hobby, really, has always been involved in property in some way. He, I remember as a child him buying a shell in a wee place called Dalavish near Oban, and it was pennies really. And again, he did that up, and I remember travelling along the country windy roads, as a kid, and it was always me helping my dad, on the roof or doing stuff. So yeah, so he's done. My dad actually probably never really thought about it, but I probably have learned an awful lot from
him. Did spark a bit of interest then early on then, when you eventually came round to getting involved in property? Do you think there was something in there, that a wee seed planted early on?
Not necessarily. It actually was in a job and one of my colleagues was into property, and I remember at the time I used to work down in London, and when I came up here he had this really fancy flat opposite oh my goodness, in the middle of Glasgow, SECC, off of there, but on the water. And it ended up he had something like 13 properties, and he had built it up.
That's Key.
That's the one. That's the one.
And where the bridge is.
Yes, right on that.
And
he was telling me how he did it, and at that time your deposits were like 5%.
What year was that roughly? When would that have been?
That was about 20 years ago.
Was it?
Yeah, and it was that so he did it in a way the hard way, because you paid full price.
Just saved up for a deposit.
It was 5%, and it was so easy. So how he did that, and that was the moment for me when I'm doing this. And I remember when I was 30, I'm like, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get my first buy to let, and that was when it started. But actually going back,
but you always worked in a corporate job right before property.
Yeah.
So did you go to university?
Yep. So I'm an accountant, a chartered management accountant.
Right.
But I didn't really fit the mould. I didn't want to go into audit. I didn't want to, when I was at uni, I think I went to Stirling Uni, and it was quite a small class, and more than 50% of people came out with a first, so I always felt like the total, the
inferior.
Yeah, and they all had jobs lined up, and they were really heavily pushing you to kind of go and get a job before you left uni. And I was like, I don't want to do this. So I went travelling for a year. I went to Australia. Initially it was just, kind of a return. I was going to do the Oz bus. And then when we went out there, we ended up buying a car that my friend that I was travelling with, her cousin or second cousin was a mechanic, and he went out there and he said, oh, my old aunt's got this car, and the chickens are living in it, and it was LPG. And he did it up for us, and we literally just went, I don't want to do what everyone else does in Australia and just, kind of do the East Coast. So we jumped in the car and literally drove the whole way around Australia.
Did you go from right the way across the full country?
Yes. We went.
My wife did that. Lisa did that when she was like, I think it must be in the early 20s as well. She said best time of her life.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
But it's funny, when we went, you would never have enough, like if you were to work to earn the money, and we thought, let's just do it. So we booked our ticket, so we had to work as soon as we got out there.
What jobs did you do out there?
Oh, it was terrible. Well, it actually wasn't terrible. I sold the internet, like I think it was AAP. I can't even remember what it was, but someone had put out a TV campaign, and literally I was just in a call centre to try and send them out. It was a disc. That's how internet and international phone calls. But it was really, really quiet. So I got on free internet and was emailing, friends and family.
What was that when you were early 20s?
Yes. Yes.
So you did that for a while.
Yeah. As soon as I left uni, we just
great
went.
Experience. I just hope for like my kids, they are able to do something like that. I just think you learn so much about yourself, and I go back to like, see, you'll never think it now, right? But see, going through school, like I struggled in terms of like friendships. I was a bit of a loner, if I'm honest with you, right? Didn't really fit in anywhere, kind of drifted into different groups and stuff like that, never really fitted in, and I was a bit shy as well, didn't have much confidence. And then see, as soon as I went travelling, I went and did like ski seasons, right, when I was 18, 19, totally brought me out of my shell, built up my confidence. I just think for young people, I think it's the best thing you can do.
But what I think it taught me when I was out there and I was doing the wee rubbish office jobs was,
fuck this.
I don't want to do this forever. So that's when I was like, right, okay, I'll do my accountancy. I'll do. So I ended up doing my chartered accountancy, moved down to London. It was 4 years of uni and then 4 years to get your professional qualification.
What were your memories of London?
It was okay, right? I think it's actually quite a lonely place, but maybe it was because you were working, you weren't earning much money because it was a training contract, and
you were single.
It's quite a far, you were quite far away from people. I was having to study at night. I did night school, that didn't really work out. Did Saturday school, that didn't really work out because I ended up being hungover. So then I just used my holidays to kind of do my studying. But it was all very much the people you work with, and that's who you socialised with. And then, but at weekends it actually was quite lonely because you're so far away. My best friend I went to Australia with was down, but it would take about 3 hours to go and see her. So but then my dad wasn't well, and I just had enough of London. So I got my qualifications.
So then you get a job, or you had a job, but did you get into progress up the ladder sort of thing?
Yes,
another job.
I in London, but I knew I wanted to move back to Scotland, so I managed to kind of get an internal move that brought me back up here. So yes.
And how long did you work for that company then, when you moved back up to?
Well, I got made redundant quite quickly after I moved up, and albeit you get a small pot, right? I spent it within 10 days. I want a car, I wanted this, I wanted that. It's funny now that I know that would have been a deposit. But yeah, so when I did get made redundant, I had an interview with am I allowed to name names in here? With Amazon. Right. And the very first question, it was a telephone interview, and the very first question they said was, if we gave you £1 million, what would you do with it?
Was that the
and
question?
Why? And I'm like, oh my God, I totally froze, because that was not, you prep for interviews, you prep for the job, and that just threw me, and I'm stutter. And he was like, what would you do? And I was like, I would buy property. And I was like, to think that was going way, way back.
Yeah. Wow, that popped into your head. Mm-hmm. What would you do?
What, answering it now or answering it when I was that age?
Oh, now?
Yeah.
£1 million is still quite a lot.
I'd be a private investor and just lend out to everyone and then take the 10% return or 8% return.
You'd do a lot with £1 million.
Yeah, I would fucking do nothing with it. Lot of interest.
I just get it.
Yeah, but you would want assets as well, wouldn't you?
Aye, so that So that Amazon career then, how long did that?
No,
last?
I didn't. I didn't want the job. I was like, no way.
Oh, you didn't? Right,
no,
okay.
I didn't even pursue it any
So
further
do you think
because
that
I just
question
didn't
then maybe
like. I just
prompted?
didn't. But that was my answer. How bizarre that was my answer.
So that's another wee piece to the puzzle, getting it.
And going back to then my dad, so he's always been into, property, mainly from his point of view it was flips, but I actually see now that we've been trained, we know our stuff. My dad has built his own house. He's built it was initially flats, but he gone through the whole planning permission piece. They rejected. So I think initially it was 12 flats. It ended up he built 2 semis, but 4 bed semis, just because he could not get through planning. He's done flips. He's done fire, repossessions.
Which has probably been a great education in itself, just seeing all that.
Because I was always just, normally we were there as kids with a brush and cleaning up. And he's done...
Probably still doing that, aren't you?
I am, actually. Try to make yourself useful.
Nothing's changed. Cleaning up after trades.
He's done commercial conversions. He's done vendor finance, all these things that actually we know, and it was all just self-taught. So actually I've been learning from him all the way along.
I never really realised that.
When did it come to a head then? Obviously fast forward in your career, in your corporate career.
So... basically, when I went off on maternity leave the first time, when I came back, the person babysitting the department, ended up being my boss, and it just didn't sit well with me. And I was like, I can't imagine doing this job, and Jess going to school. So that was baby number 1. Baby number 2. Rewind. Homes Under the Hammer was my favourite programme.
When you were
right? And then when baby number 2, they were all repeats, and I was like, no way. And I literally was talking about it in the pub with people, and they said, oh, do you know Homes Under the Hammer are in Glasgow? And I'm like, when? And they're like, that Saturday. They're doing something on Saturday. So my friend's husband, he... had just been kind of medically retired, and he was looking for something to do as well. Come with me. And so we spent an awful lot of money on a training course. Don't regret it at all. Sorry, just pause there.
So when you said Homes on the Hammer coming to Glasgow, was this the guy Martin?
That was doing the
Martin. What's his name?
Martin
Roberts.
Yes, it wasn't actually him that came, but I actually think it was Caroline. I think it was Caroline.
Caroline Klein?
Because she was one of the trainers originally, wasn't she? Yeah.
So
well, they're all it's entry level from different places, and then it feeds in. But
when
to be
was
honest,
that,
they changed hands, the training company, so many times.
When was that kind of came about?
Max was 15 weeks old when I had to go away for 3 days. So,
but what year?
Max is 9, so it was 9 years ago.
All right, okay. So 2015 or something? 2016?
Probably 16, 17.
2016. And did that would have probably been like an advert that popped up online or something like that? These guys are coming to Glasgow.
Someone else told me about it. I'm there.
What was actually the initial one? I take it after you seen the high ticket item, you were like, you know what, I'm in.
Oh yeah, talk to us about that event then.
Well, the thing was, I had saved up my money for my maternity leave, so I was literally just in. Well, Max was 15. I know of this. He was 15 weeks old, and I had saved up my pot, and I was like, I could just. And they're very smart on the course because what they do.
Sorry, see at that event in Glasgow, right? Presumably, was that just like a free one or a low ticket one?
Yes, free initially,
right?
And then it was £1,000.
What was it that hooked you then? The person that was standing up on the stage.
Yeah.
Can you remember what it was they were talking about?
It was just, I actually think it was Heather Mortimer. That was the kind of guest person coming in, and I was just like, I'm doing this. I am doing that, And I always knew, back to what my colleague and how he built up so, kind of quickly. And I always, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. I'm quite a determined person. I am doing that.
So they were talking about building up assets and like kind of typical rich dad, poor dad sort of stuff that you hear. And then you were like, that's for me. And then what was the sales strategy from them at that day in the room? How did they get you to pay more?
Well, so no, what they did. Well, I can't remember which ones of the courses. I think it was the second course.
Right.
They taught you how to put money on your credit cards. So very cleverly, then that would pay for the course. And
if you didn't have it sitting
but
there,
I had actually saved up for my maternity leave.
cover
I
was
did have to go back after 6 months because I spent it. I do not regret it at all.
Never taken that knowledge away from you, though.
No,
Yeah.
no. And do you know what? I think because I paid so much money, that gave me, I am doing it. And
How much have you paid on property education over the years? Like,
the good thing I went with a friend, so it's buy one get one free.
Oh, is it?
So,
Right.
Do you really want to know?
yeah, because
Oh,
I think the
Nick
listeners,
fucking
I think,
Nick loves
I
this shit.
know
I
it
think,
does.
I think the listeners would like to know because
Honestly, maybe about 15 grand.
it's not.
But
I see
actually,
if
it's
you
been an
look at it-
investment.
Well, exactly.
Investment.
And I don't. And again, everyone is Nick's against courses. I'm not. I'm not against courses. I'm against what they perceive the lifestyle to be. A lot of these guys,
It's down to you,
Yeah.
right? It's down to you. And it's, see, sometimes when you think about the people, that spend that money and how many people don't do anything with it, and they then just expect a property to come to you. Like, you've got to work. You've really got to work at it.
And if you didn't spend that 15 grand, you might not be here as we are now.
It's accelerated.
And obviously the relationships that you've built, Gillian Green, all the rest of it, who I think you met Gillian. Did you not meet Gillian on the course? No.
I saw her on the course. I didn't know her. And it was more, I met her outside viewings. As we're struggling to get our babies into the baby bjorn and legs are in the wrong place.
So you did the same sort of training company, didn't you?
I don't know. I think I might have been like maybe 6 months ahead. Yes. And it came down to just, there was nothing. It was quite, although Caroline was Scottish, it was, everything was English. And she and another girl started up a kind of Glasgow meet.
She's had like a women's meet, did you not?
No, I think it was
wasn't
mixed.
just women.
But and it just came from there. And so now I actually I'm part of their group.
Aye.
And it's amazing. It's
So you've got
amazing
your
the
own
fact
community there.
that it's just your WhatsApp group and they're just
Deals
such a
getting
decent
chucked out,
bunch of people, and we all want to help each other.
It's a good thing about the property industry, isn't it?
But you kind of need to look at it as almost like your work colleagues, because it's quite lonely on your own. And however many properties I have done, everyone's different, or there's different challenges, no matter what you think you know it, and you don't. Whatever you're hit with,
Something new again.
something new,
What
and
would
just
your
being able to
advice
bounce
be?
off people.
Obviously, you spent quite a lot on property education. But what would your advice be to people who are considering that investment in terms of like doing your own due diligence to make sure that is the right fit for you? Because obviously, you probably went down to London, England, and then they started teaching you about like HMO, like lease options and all the rest of it. Do you know what I mean? Which maybe doesn't apply.
I mean, really on these kind of things, the different strategies you chose. I mean, the thing is, it's different now. They don't do it the same way. I think before, they've changed. They had to the model. Instead of paying the big figure, because what I did was 3 days on, like whether it's raising finance, 3 days on buy to lets, 3 days, so it was spread out, but you covered them all. But what I would say is, although at the time, it's just it puts something in your head to kind of go, oh,
sparks these thoughts that you didn't think was possible.
And
so right off the back of the training, then did you get to work immediately
took
on
me
property?
a year.
Well, as you say,
Took
you've
me
still
a
got
year.
a young kid and a newborn as
Two,
well.
Why did it take you a year? Why were you slow?
Because it was the MIMO. They train you to
For those listening, what's MIMO?
Money in, money out. So it's basically after the 6 months, buy,
renovate,
refinance, and get all your money
So
out.
you're looking for the unicorn deals.
Yes. And what's really funny is the first one I bought is my best property. That I didn't know at the time, and it wasn't until.
It's only because of timing?
It's timing and secondary finance.
Right,
and it was a bit of an accident that I got it because it was a sourcing agent. And I don't know if he was still learning as well, but he accidentally emailed me the wrong deal, and I was like, nah, I don't want that. See that one at the bottom of that email? That's the one I want, and I think it fell through.
Right.
And then so it came back to him, and it took 2 refurbs, because the first refurb that he did was not very good. So I kind of refurbed it twice, but it changed from a buy-to-let, and now it's like an SA.
Right.
So now...
Wait, so where was that one?
Paisley.
Right.
Paisley. Mm-hmm.
Flat, house?
It was a period conversion.
Right.
So just in Crossroad, just by the RAH.
So did you do the full development for the conversion, or was it already been developed?
It was already done and
refurb,
badly.
Right.
So someone had bought it, and there was 3 floors. So I had the top floor. And again, you pay a sourcing agent to fix the roof, but actually didn't fix the roof.
So the sourcer was also doing the refurb?
Again, naive. I was working, I was busy, so I paid for the sourcing fee, then paid for the project management fee.
Just thinking, like, unpicking those wee bits and lessons learned and looking back. So the first thing was that you were slow to get started because you were looking for that perfect deal. So is that something that now you would say to people who were starting out? Like, just get
I think
in
you
there?
have to leave money in now. I think it's pure luck if you don't.
ADS and cost of
exactly.
labor,
The thing is, if it constantly changes, doesn't it? Constantly changes.
Yeah.
Like just now, I would say buy-to-lets are, that not that appealing. But again, it just depends what comes up. Mm-hmm.
It depends what you want to achieve, because we had Graham on previously just there. And he was like loving buy-to-let, but he's not necessarily needing that money to live off because he's got a really successful business. So he's like, this is fantastic. I can build this on the side, no bother about really cash flow. I just want to build the assets, because if something happens to my business or the shit hits the fan one day and I lose everything there, then this will ultimately pay all my bills.
Absolutely.
So it depends what you want. If you think you're going to be able to retire straight away out your corporate job and live off buy-to-lets, then it's going to be a slow and hard path ahead.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that's why it's maybe not sexy for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But what I would say on that is, I had a job, and I had a pretty decent job. So I had a figure of how many properties I needed to give up my job.
Like,
and I did that, but actually my advice to everyone is, whatever you figure you think that is, add another 2 on because something always comes up.
How many did you have in your head that you wanted to get?
12.
12? Mm-hmm. So you've surpassed that, obviously, because you showed us the...
Is that why you changed to SAs then, to try and fast track that process? Or
No, one thing I would say is having like that vision board, right? So that is the thing that drives you. And in the courses, they all tell you that. Board? It's literally just having a picture in your head. You can have it in your head, or you can put it up in your, in your office.
Did you have a picture of Ferrari up in your...
No, I had Jess going to school, because I thought, I cannot do my corporate job and I want to do the drop off, I want to do the pick up, and so it was Jess going to school, and that gave me that bite, right? And what I would say is probably nearly got a divorce because I was so determined. I was like, this is going to happen.
See this?
You achieved that, didn't you?
Yep.
See this pickup?
So the next one was...
Hang on. See this pick up and drop off business that you hear everybody going on about online? I think it's the biggest heap of shit ever. I'm desperate to get rid of my kids in the mall.
Oh, that's why the drop-off's good. No, I'm on the same boat as you. I love the drop-off and love the pickup. Love the birthday.
You said you hate the small talk at the school gate and all that.
I'm always working right until I go in, so I don't really chat to mums and their dads. So, but I listen to their day and speak. I don't know. Did you say Jess is 11?
Yes.
Is she still telling you about her day and talking about her school day yet?
No, she can't remember.
Well, I'm starting to get it. Don't know. So I'm already starting to get the shit. So I'm like,
what's the point in picking?
Do you know what they tell you that actually when it's about to go to bed? That's when.
Exactly. Yeah. So no, the reason why I was asking that is I kind of like that as well, because I think when you put in property, when you put like a number at cash flow or a capital value, it's always hard to achieve. But when you put like a strong vision against that, I don't think I've ever worked as hard up until Maya going to school. Since then, I think I've took the foot completely off the gas. I'm like, achieved that. But we were chatting about this earlier as well, about like traveling the world and stuff. I've said to Maya now, when you leave high school, before you go to college, university, you're taking a year out, we're going traveling the world and we're going to go and do this together. So I've now got almost a new vision on the business needs to support me to just fuck off for a year then, and which I know I can do now, but I think because I can do now, I'm like, oh, what's the fucking point in pushing? Do you think that's important to have that vision board all the time?
100%.
Yeah.
I'd never worked as hard, right, when I had that really, really strong... Whereas now that's what's missing for me is I'm floating. So my next vision board, so my husband has never really been and family have not really ever really been engaged in my journey. And so I thought, right, I'm going to get a 4-bed in Ely, right? And I had a 4-bed in Ely on my vision board. And that was my...
second home.
That was my next one. He will enjoy this because that's the holidays he wants to go on, and then he'll then be interested in property. So that was my vision board, and then we had COVID, right? So I still was. I actually did have a picture up on my board, and I started working with someone. I had a really good estate agent contact, and it was almost like, you get one, I get one, you get one, I get one, and we were helping each other with the refurbs, and it was all very good. And she went to go and view a property up in St Andrews, and I went to see it, and there were actually about I think there were 4 up for sale, all kind of linked. But I kind of came away and I was like, wow, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. Anyways, she went ahead and put an offer in and didn't get it. But whilst we were waiting, I had this, hold on a minute, Ely. And we went to St Andrews, and I'm like, actually, I prefer St Andrews
Why was Ely originally?
Just because that's where he went on holidays, and that he had a connection, and I was like, that's going to get him engaged.
No, he's levelled up, St Andrews.
See, talking about that bit about not having your partner engaged, does that make any difference, do you think? Like, does that make it harder? Like, did he ever put up any obstacles, or did he just kind of let you get on with it?
Let me get on with it.
That's good, isn't it?
There was a little bit at the start, maybe on you're running all the time.
Did he know about the 15 grand bill for the course on the credit card?
Then we went back to work 6 months.
I think that was a sore point, but it's funny. I met Scott a lot later, and I was completely independent. We both had our own houses. I had good money, so it's terrible, but I never even thought I should ask.
Quite right. You've got your own career and you've built your own.
Yes, but you just go with the flow, and I'm like, I'm a pretty determined person.
So even if he did put up any obstacles
on that objections, like, I am the worst person for a sales call, because if somebody phones me about, I want to come and do your mentorship with you, and they phone me and they say, I need to go and ask the wife, I'm like, forget about you're not welcome.
Oh yeah.
And I get this. If you need to ask your fucking wife or your husband to do anything, are you ever going to do anything in property? Because look at the decisions you'll make that are important day to day, constantly. So it's important to have them on the journey, but if you need to ask permission for you growing yourself and getting a family home and growing the family wealth, then sorry.
See, and now that's what I would have said before, but see now, because now I feel like my challenge is to get them engaged, so maybe I think you're being a bit harsh.
Imagine if you asked him and he said no. Would you be sitting here right now?
Yes.
No, you wouldn't have.
I don't think he would have said no. He wouldn't have said no, but it would have been probably nice of me to ask.
What about, do you ever get the one?
I'll run this past him, I'm doing it anyway.
Do you ever get the one where they go, oh, I need to check with the boss?
Well, that's usually the wife.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like,
then I know you're a fucking simp and you're not going to take any action, so there's no point.
The boss of what?
Yeah.
You be your own boss.
Exactly. I love that though. Like, I love that, the fact that you took that control of that decision. And okay, you did say you were kind of quite independent corporate lives before you just kind of came together.
The only thing I would say to that is that
I did ask my wife by the way before I did it, so just to put that there.
The only thing that I would say to that is, just to kind of counter that argument, is that, about making your own decisions and just going ahead, is that, obviously you're in a partnership and usually somebody does need to take a sacrifice. There usually is some sort of sacrifice involved. For me, in the early stages of building Arc Property, the lettings business, all my wife says, for the first 2-3 years, all I saw was the back of your head. Because we had a computer in the living room and I was sat on an office chair in front of the screen, and she's literally just talking to the back of her head the whole time. So I mean, so there is a sacrifice to be made. So I think it is.
They kind of have to buy him the sacrifice, don't they?
So
Yeah.
you know, but obviously you're still together now,
Yes.
We should have checked that first for these
so
conversations.
it's worked out.
Yes.
And did you get that holiday home in Elain? Was it?
St Andrews now.
It's St Andrews, yes. So so the property that there was 4 of them, I would didn't get it, but the next thing off market, they had another, basically a farmer had family had fallen out and they decided to sell, so the farm and all the cottages nearby. So opportunity came up. We went for one, didn't get it, but there was 2 semis and a bit of land, and so we thought, right, let's go for that one with the land. And then we got so carried away, we were like, and we could just buy the one attached to it as well, because then again for planning and all the rest of it. So yep, that was a big stressful
from this house in Ely to 4 properties in St Andrews.
That's what materialised. So yes, but going back then to now, I don't have that vision board, and I feel like I'm maybe drifting a wee bit because I need to decide what that next vision is, because I think I was so much more productive when I had that. So that's next.
That's interesting. Actually, I'm glad we had that conversation. I think you'd relate to that as well, because you were saying that before we started recording this morning, like that bit of you're enjoying that pace of life, having the staff
you just meander and just drift along, don't you, when you're in that comfortable stage? But maybe that's just needs to be where I settle, because you know, like I went through the pain and my wife did the heavy lifting through building the business. So do I really want to go back to that again? Like probably not.
Even if it just shapes you on your direction that you're wanting to go to. But I've got a retirement plan, but I'm just not. I've not got it that desperate yet. You know,
I've not really asked many people on this on the podcast, but is there a retirement plan?
I've got one.
but surely, like the graft and the hustle you've went to, it would just be something else. It just takes up maybe less time or less effort, less stress.
Yeah, I'll never stop.
Would you not get bored?
But I think I don't know. I do think like there has to be an end point, because.
Does it though? Because the very people that I see in my family that have went to a retirement age that either don't make it on the way up to retirement or they die very, very soon after retirement.
Exactly.
So I'm like, what is, I mean, okay, I wouldn't let work define you, but do you not think it's something important on keeping your mind active and your body active? My grand's one of those people that I look up to the most, and we had to force her to quit her job at, I think she was 76. She was working 12-hour shifts in a chippy till 2 o'clock in the morning. She wouldn't quit. She just knew it, and she's starting to deteriorate now at maybe 88. And I'm like, it's because you're fucking retired. Do you know what I mean? It's almost like you stop, but she needed to, and we had to force her to. But I always think that, like, you know, our my mum's partner that's like, you know, 20 odd years younger than her, retired a few years ago early, and he's just like he's been diagnosed with Alzheimer's stuff, and I'm thinking, these things come with retirement.
See, I look at it slightly differently, and I want to, in a way, semi-retire early, because I want to enjoy it. I don't want to get to retirement age and then have ill health or something that makes you not able to do these things. So I'm all about just trying to enjoy life.
Yeah.
Enjoy
You're not
life.
retired already anyway, because you're just in property, right? So is it not just good fun?
No, it's not
That's
not
what some
always
people
fun.
would
No, look at this
But
grey hair.
that's the perception, isn't it? That's the perception. I'll just like quit the corporate job and then I'll just do property.
So what's the retirement plan then? What does
Yeah.
that
I've got a cash flow figure.
Right, okay.
For me just now, initially,
How much is
cash
that?
flow figure.
Yep. I knew he was going to ask you that. I knew you
know,
weren't going to
it's cheeky.
you were not going to get away with saying that.
Just ignore me.
So get the cash flow first, and then look at kind of really getting rid of some of the debt.
And what, see that figure, you don't need to say it, but what would that want to bring you? Is it like, you know, so that you can take the kids good places and holidays, or is it for your holidays, or what's important to you?
So I want Scott to stop working, right? I want him to stop working, and I want to not to have that, I can't go because, you know, I can't go on holiday, can't take the school holidays, I've got no holidays left, I've got no this.
So Scott work with you in the business?
I would like to, yes, I would like that, but I do think it would need to be something separate and something that he owns, because...
What do you think? What do you think his qualities are?
He's so organised. He's
That's
so
it. You need
organised.
that, don't you? Yeah.
But it's you just want to do something you enjoy.
Yeah.
I want him to do something he
Yeah.
enjoys, even if it's just part-time. But everyone's made differently. I think he needs...
I had that fantasy as well, like trying to get Kelly in the business, and I realised that we wouldn't be able to work together because we are so different. But if it was something completely separate, I think it'd be quite nice. I was actually really jealous. Like, there were 2 couples that came on the workshop last week. One of them came together, and fuck me, they work together. They've already got a carpet and flooring business, and you can tell he compliments her weaknesses and she compliments his, and it's like, fuck, that'd be cool. Like, that wouldn't be your lonely world you're looking at. And then the other woman came on, and I feel really bad for judging her, right? Because her husband paid for the 2 of them to come on it. He came on it 6 months ago. He's added 4 properties to the portfolio, and he's done really well. And I thought, he's forced his wife to come along because for 5 months she's like, sorry, I can't make this one. Sorry, you've got another date in 2 months. Oh, sorry, I can't make it. Someone's came up, she'll cancel last minute. Thinking, she doesn't want to fucking come. She came on last week, I shit you not. She intimidated me. She is the driving force. They're going to go places now, and I'm like, that's really cool to have your partner buying into that vision. And now she understands the processes. She had an offer accepted on Monday for her first flip before 48 grand profit. And I'm like, fucking wow. Like, that would be cool. I wish fucking Kelly would do something like that, or organise my diet or something.
See, I think that's great, but I think differently. I think if it was me and Lisa, I think that'd be shit. I'm glad we have our own things and she's got her thing, because I just think if you're spending that time together, like on the same business, like what else have you got to talk about? Do you know what I mean? You're literally doing the same thing all the time together.
I'll give you something to talk about though. So I'll give you a shared interest.
Nah, exactly. Like hearing about her other stuff. Like she's a teacher part-time, so she talks about like, you know, how she got on a day at school and the kids and all the rest of it. So she's got her own life and I've got my life. And then it just, I don't know, for me that would be a nightmare.
But the dream is, back to this bit, is kind of retire and just do things that you enjoy to do.
So
you can go and play golf and do the things.
So that would bring the freedom. So
you can lift some things.
So that is a thing. Obviously, property income can bring freedom and can free up time, because it's obviously that passive income.
Well, to be honest, that's what I'm trying to do. Is
get to that point.
Even I've just bought a CMO. It was the longest conveyancing ever, but I got a management agent right away. So everything I'm doing, I'm trying to be able to operate without me.
And use a letting agent for your buy-to-let portfolio as well, do you?
Yes. So everything is, I could step away. So
what about your SA stuff?
I've got
agents as well.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So it's complete buy-to-lets, agents, SAs agents, and then the CMO agent as well.
Yep. Yeah. So last year,
you're retired already.
You're retired.
But why? I know that's the thing is, what do I do? Look at people with portfolios, and they're like, yeah, I'm at the gym, I'm doing this, and I'm like, why am I working about 10 hours a day? Do you know, like, what am I, a busy fool? But yeah, so I don't know what on earth I do in a day.
You've got new projects coming on now, so you've got
everything's new and everything's learning. I mean, like in that.
Do you get bored quite easily with the same strategies of property? Because you have done quite a few diverse strategies. Do you get bored with I say, okay, I'm going to go on SA now, SA, CMO? Or do you think?
To be honest, it's all about the numbers, isn't it? Really, and you kind of got to follow what you know. So for me, I had made the decision to put my pension into SAS, so therefore I had to look at commercial, because you can't everything changes, and before it was like, oh, brilliant third party loans, but actually, oh, you need a charge, you need a this, so I had to kind of move into commercial for that reason. And then when I bought the St Andrews project, I knew.
Did you use SAS for the St Andrews SA ones?
What's that?
Did you use your SAS for the SA ones, or were they SAS?
I ended up, St Andrews was like a 2.5 year, 3 year project that was just, challenge after challenge. But so we decided not to actually build on the lands because we'd just been shafted so many times.
With planning?
No, with builders and all the rest of it, that we were just tired and totally worn out, that we went prefabricated. And they were made in a factory and shipped in. But you can't, again, you do courses and you think you know, but see, until it actually happens and you're in that project, you can't get lending. So you were led to believe, you can get asset finance, you can get this, that, next. but it is far more complicated. So in the end, we ended
these
up.
for the wooden lodges type thing that did you put them on?
These are luxury. These are luxury lodges. But you couldn't get lending, so we ended up getting the SAS to buy the land.
Right.
So then that was our way of kind of getting the funding for it. Because again, if you could get asset finance, I mean, at the time it was like 12% and wouldn't necessarily give you the loan to value you were looking for. So it just worked for us. So
we've been into the nuts and bolts then of your property portfolio then. What was your best ever deal? Can you remember? One that you thought, wow, that's brilliant. Really got a buzz off of that one.
Do you know, I don't know, because I said the first one I bought now, I could say that, but it wasn't at the time, because it was a dodgy refurb. Then it got trashed. One of my tenants was using it as a brothel. And then when I got the St Andrews project, I thought, okay, it's an SA. So I converted my best buy-to-lets, 2 of my best buy-to-lets into SAs so that I could learn locally. And I did a course however many years ago when they touched on it, but it wasn't relevant then. I thought, you know what, I'm just going to learn, convert now and kind of learn, so that with St Andrews and being that distance, that
systemize it and process it to
but again, hurdle after hurdle with that, you know, because again, I used the agent that I was thinking of using for St Andrews, but actually it was in Paisley, and you know, it doesn't work. You need to have a local
on the ground.
There must be one that kind of stands out that you really love, that's doing well. One of your essays at the moment, no? You know, financially, cash flow.
This one that I was talking about, my first ever one, that was at Mimo, and again for a while, again a couple of different agents, and I was tempted to then take it back off and put it into a buy-to-let, but here now it's on fire.
So what's that market
actually
you
on
getting
fire
in for that? Like, what sort of guests are you getting?
But it's not corporate, and I think it's just to do with supply and demand. Really, there's not a lot, and I'm getting it's 2 nights, 3 nights. You know, it's
just people
holiday
visiting,
makers,
like
and I would say that one's.
And how
performing amazingly.
How much are you getting from that cash flow in a month, roughly?
It varies, but probably I'm bringing in maybe $2,000.
That's brilliant.
Right. Okay, minus your mortgage, you know, and your costs, you know.
All right,
but
that's gross.
Compared to a buy-to-let, you know.
Aye, that's not net.
So, but that one is not contractors, and again, you're like, oh, I need contractors. I need contractors.
After all costs.
Oh, not probably about 1,300.
I've just tried to compare it to like what it would be as a buy-to-let. So buy-to-let, maybe 300 cash flow.
Probably a bit more now because rents have gone up.
Aye,
but
an extra grand on top.
I used to think an SA was 2 buy-to-lets, but I think this one now. But again, we'll wait and see what the winter brings.
Management costs are expensive the way for SA. 18%.
You're talking about your retirement plan on a cash flow. How do you look at the SA business being part of that with the cash flow, with the ups and downs? Because like you say, you know, summer months might give you that $2,000, but come winter it might be minus 300 quid at some months. Is that why you've kind of opted to balance the portfolio between buy-to-let, SA, and now the CMO?
Honestly, there's not been it's just happened. It's just happened that way. But I've got some buy-to-lets in my personal name because I always knew I was giving up my job, so I kind of live off of that. And then there's one SA in that pot, and actually that's your profit, right? So if back to your bit, you're covered, you know, within that portfolio that I've got in my own name. And when that SA performs well, that's when you can pay off your credit card, or you know.
Have you ever done a calculation in your head, just roughly out of all your assets, like what would they be worth on paper? A total
I've
value?
got spreadsheets for everyone. I'm an accountant, so yes, I have.
How much was that? Roughly?
What's that?
All your assets combined, like all your properties.
He's looking for his clickbait time.
I know.
He's looking for it.
What?
How much? What's the value
of my assets?
All the properties combined. If you were to sell them all today, what would be the gross figure? It's all right. You don't need to answer. It's fine.
It's about 2.7.
Lovely, right? And have you bought all those with your own money?
I started with 10 grand that I paid for a course, so all of that has been private investors.
This is what I'm leading on to. So this is what I want to get to. So
Well,
build a
nice questioning. Like
2.7 million pound property portfolio.
with 10
Maybe
grand.
none of your own money, but a lot of help from other investors, private investors, financing.
Yeah, and actually just back to your bit around buy-to-lets, I've had a lot of capital growth, and that's the one thing I think from a buy-to-let, you focus in on cash flow, but actually I've had a lot of challenges along this journey.
With SA stuff.
In a lodge, manufacturers going bust and stealing all our money.
Oh,
and what I would say is I weathered that, and yes, I had to sell. I think I sold one, and the rest you're able to refinance because your portfolio grows.
Can you just touch on that disaster? Or is that one you don't want to go into, on that company going bust?
Yeah,
There's nothing you could have done differently in that, was there?
It's just annoying, right? But again, whether it's a refurb or whatever it is, you need to visit your project, is what I would say.
Yeah.
So I bought that. We had gone down to Liverpool. It was 80% finished.
These
Right?
were the pre-built lodges
Yep.
that were going on the site in St Andrews.
Yeah, and they're delivered in 2 parts and then joined, right? So
How much are these coming in? This is not a small amount of money, is it, for the lodges? Because some of them you get quite cheap ones for.
yes, we
15
got
grand.
big. We had pretty big, substantial lodge. So 100, right? Initially, you had to pay each one.
Wow.
And you had to pay a big deposit. But for me, I was like, it's 80% finished. So all that I was to then choosing, we went to the factory, saw them. All that I was to choose was the bathroom and kitchen, really, and it was there.
Done.
And
I think you just put a pad on in services and then it gets plonked in and that's
yes, that's another story with the farmer. But yes, we've got private water supply and landlords with the
We can't
farmer.
afford any more disasters.
Yes, but yes, so we went down and we were getting 2. So the bog standard, we needed the mirror image. So that one had to be bespoke. So that's what we were waiting on. So we waited, story after story after story. And it transpires that they sold my lodge several times over. They were total crooks and went into liquidation. They were bullshit after bullshit on what was happening.
Yeah. So who actually owned that lodge or put the deposit in the lodge? 20 people or something like that. Yeah.
How much out of pocket on that?
50k each.
It's a hit, isn't it? So you had to sell a buy to let then to recuperate some
Yeah,
money.
but actually we were about to walk away because no one was going to take a shell and be able to transport it.
Oh, so you were getting the shell back out the liquidation.
So it was a big palaver, and we had people and friends that kind of worked for liquidate. We got a lot of kind of help and advice, and these crooks actually came back and said, right, if you pay us 30 grand more, we'll move it and we'll finish it. And we're like, right. So we went to them. Literally, it was the caravan show at the SECC.
Yeah.
So we went along to it, and we were kind of looking at other options. And this one company said, "We'll finish it off for you," because nothing was the exact same size.
Right.
And in fairness, they did try their best, but again, it was then bespoke, and that was messy. Anyway, it is what it is, and we have 2 lovely, amazing lodges.
Cash flowing brilliantly, I'm assuming, in St Andrews.
Yeah, but
is it seasonal? Is it all year round?
What I would say, so my wee shiter in Paisley is actually performing better.
No way.
Right? I paid 50 grand initially for this house in Paisley.
Yeah.
Paid 260 for
2 lodges.
No, for one cottage in St
aye,
Andrews, because we bought 2 cottages
Yeah.
and land, and my Paisley is performing better. And I think it all comes down to supply and demand, and St Andrews is saturated and very, very seasonal. So it really is. Occupancy is amazing.
Occupancy
in
rate
this,
through the summertime, I'm assuming, come
Yes.
September, October, it just drops off.
but it's a rate game. That's all they do is just play with the rate in order to to fill it.
So touch on a wee bit about obviously your financing strategies then, because we hear a lot, people would love to get into property, they just don't have funds available. So one of the ways is obviously the private investor financing. So can you remember your first, they call them angel, you call them angels, don't you?
Yeah, yes.
Your angels, who was your first angel?
My dad.
Right.
And
But he loved doing investing. Because I can imagine if Maya came to me in fucking 20 years' time going, Dad, I'm wanting to borrow some money to invest in property. I'd be like, yes.
So it was that and credit cards. So
Yeah.
I had at one point 65 grand on credit cards. Right.
Oh, it's a sleepless night.
No, it really did.
What?
But that's the thing is, so when you're looking at your options, credit cards are the way to go, right? You're looking at
Interest-free credit cards and balance transfer. Okay, yeah.
Well, or money transfer, right?
Yes, yeah.
So really, I mean, what are they?
How did you have the 65 grand though?
See, by the end, I had my mum taking out credit cards, my dad taking out credit cards. I think I'm now giving my dad a credit card because he loves the credit card. He can't believe it, right? He's like that, yay. He bought his car, you know, I got him to lease his car and then that ran out and he decided to buy
Can I just jump in a wee disclaimer here? Because I feel like we don't give financial advice. So everybody stop what you're doing, listen to this. Go and listen to Martin Lewis or something like that if you want.
But what I would say is good credit.
Yes,
so make sure whatever you're putting on your credit card is good credit.
And you're talking from you. This is your experience,
Yes.
and it's worked for you.
But this is good debt as well. You're not talking about going and blowing it on next expensive holidays or a nice fancy car. You're actually going and saying, right, we're buying it to use it to refurb that property, to refinance or add value.
And the
assets.
refinance is paying it off.
You can come on holiday with me if you want.
That's great.
Yeah, so really it was the start where you did the refurb, and I think on that very first one that I was talking about, how I did it. So my dad gave me 10 grand, right? And I used that and a credit card, did the refurb, and then when the refinance came through, it put 35 grand back into my bank account, and I left it out on my hall table, and my dad was in the house or whatever, and I went, hey dad and I just thought, I'm doing this and I showed him at that, and he was like,
the 35
the penny
grand
dropped. No, just my statement. And then showed it, went in, and he went, what?
Wow.
And he was, and tell me about that, and then he got it. He got it.
I thought you went and got the wad of notes and put it on the table, stacked up.
And then it just, you know, again, it was
so much
probably a bit
confidence,
easier then, you know, as well.
For eye for all money out.
Yeah. Well, I've
like
only ever had one.
Was that like a tester for you to make sure that, because obviously it was your dad at the end of the day, so if it all went wrong, it's no the end of the world, does it? You know what I mean? It's like, I'm sure he'll forgive you. But was that a tester for you then to get the confidence to then go push on and get other private investors?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think also at the time I was working. Right.
Aye.
So that's the other thing is having that, when I said 12 before you give up your job, you have to, in a way, you kind of feel really, really rich by then because you've got your 12 coming in and you've got a salary. And then when that stops, that salary stops and you are just living off that. The other thing for me is the rent guarantee, taking that rent guarantee because I have one property not on rent guarantee, and that's the problem one where the guy's just been living there for probably the past 4 or 5 months.
So this is for everybody listening, this is rent guarantee insurance, which you can usually get, well, you can get it online, but usually your letting agent and that can organise it for you. And obviously if the tenant stops paying the rent, then that obviously kicks in and makes sure that you can...
Especially if you don't have a job and you're relying on that as your income. For me, it's a no-brainer. So I would definitely recommend that.
Like your risk mitigation, isn't it? To put 65 grand on a credit card, people might go, oh, Jesus Christ, she's off her head. But you've worked out the numbers beforehand. You've got the offer accepted at the right price. You've
you know your numbers when you accept.
You're making money when you buy the property.
Yes,
I mean, okay, there'll be shit that might go wrong in the process, but you've mitigated enough risk, and like your rent guarantee, if you're quitting a job, you're not quitting a job and going to rely on these 12 buy-to-lets that a few might not pay, or I might get big maintenance costs. You're saying, no, do you know what, I'm hitting rent guarantee on these to know that my income doesn't change.
Yeah.
And how does the rest of the money come in then, in terms of like, was that just a case of like, I think you talked before about meeting people at like making friendships at clubs and stuff like that, and like, did you not talk to is it the Pilates or something like that?
Yoga. No, it's just, I think it's just telling people what you do. And it's funny when you go in the course and they tell you to get your investor pack and all the rest of it. And I remember doing that and then meeting people and trying to go through it. And it was a disaster. But actually the benefit of doing that is just to get it in your own head, how you're supposed to position it. But at the end of the day, what I think is that the people that are going to lend you money are the people that know you. not a stranger, right? Absolutely not a stranger.
No, like, and trust you from the off, and
Yeah. So you know, again, I'm not into social media at all, but I did for a while because I had an agenda and I was wanting to share people what I do. Kind of served the purpose. I've built up.
That's why we're grateful for you coming along today, because I know you're not one of these ones to put yourself out there. So for you to come and share all this, and I know I've been hard with the questions and getting the numbers out of you and all the rest of it, but really appreciate you coming in and obviously being so honest with it. But just like, obviously, so you managed to raise a bit more money. How much would you say you've raised over the years in terms of private investor money?
Probably $1 million.
Wow.
With social media? Or?
No.
Friends,
Just
family.
Friends, family, people around you.
It's people that you know.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's a win-win because
They're getting return.
it's cheaper than bridging and they're not going to get that in the bank. And so it's a complete win-win.
And are these funds that are ongoing, that are continuing? Like, so some of the investors that you get, so they might say they give you 50 grand or whatever. Is that 50 grand, are they wanting it back with interest at the end, or have many of them said just keep rolling it over onto the next property?
Really just depends on the circumstances. For me, my preference is to pay them monthly and have it long term, and then being able to support that with your portfolio. That's my preference. Flips, obviously not. You would rather pay it at the end.
And I'm sure that would be their preference as well, because if they're getting a monthly income from it, it's much better, isn't it?
Absolutely. But again, it depends, because what I would say is that the investors that I have lost, I've lost because they're now doing property. Actually, do you know what? I love that, and I want to be able to help them. And
that's why I never invested with you.
I always found it the other way about. I always found it was the one that tried to do property first, and then they realised that this is actually a lot of fucking work, and then they end up giving you the money because they're like, well, you're doing it at scale and you're doing it better. Then do it. So I always found it's the one that get a pain point, I get a problem with property, and then go, do you know what? You take it. So that's quite interesting.
See, I've still got a bad mindset based on I've got a bit of money there that has been losing me money over the years. Right,
you pay for a training course. You usually go and pay and go.
People know that are listening to the podcast. They've heard me talk about this before, right? So it's because it's a lesson to me, and it's something that I need to change my mindset on, right? Because I've had this money just sat in the bank account doing absolutely F all for years, right? The amount I've probably lost, and if I was to lend it out on even if it was 8%, I think you offered me 10. Can't remember 10, and I was like,
you're very generous.
It was only 6 weeks. It was 6 weeks. I sold the property within 3 days. I bought and finance sold it on Monday. Terrible. 47 grand. But I goes, give me the money. I'll give you 10% on it for 6 weeks. He's like, no.
In the back of my head, I'm like, I don't want anybody to make more money than me with my money.
But that would have been a win-win. It's sitting doing nothing.
Crazy, this is the crazy thing. This is my mindset. It needs to change. So, and it's still not changed in the 4 years that we've been doing the podcast. Even though we've had on 300 guests.
And they all reach out to you afterwards trying to get your money off you, and there's no success. So I love hearing these stories, and one of these days I will be like, Elaine, just take my money and do whatever you want with it. I'm intrigued to find out who he gives it to.
What's that?
I'm just intrigued to find out who he gives it to. Like, whose story is going to compel him, and the most that he's going to... This will be like the fucking Dragon's Den for the Nick's investment money. Come on the podcast, have we interview, chat, share your story. Nick goes and falls for it. He's like, there's 300.
To be fair,
it's not fucking me.
See, to be fair, 250 grand that went into the SAS, which is now sat for a year doing fuck all. Because I had these grand plans that I was going to... Jerry Alexander will tell you. I think he's given up on me now. He used to phone me up and go, how you getting on with finding your commercial deal? No, Jerry, it's still not happening.
What I would say, I mean, that's crazy, isn't it? Right? At least either lend it out or move it into something that's earning something.
I know.
Well, there's one thing I would say on that is buying commercial takes an awful lot longer than resi. That even if you were to choose a deal, by the time you need it. If you were buying commercial, you'll have earned more. You just need to move it. Also, you're only protected for 85, so if it's all in the one place,
it's crazy.
You need to split that.
I know, it's crazy.
Let's touch on the commercial before we finish up then. What was the kind of carrot to the CMO? Did you want it for your own business? Did you think of the multiple units, or did you just... Did the deal fall on your lap? You thought, this is...
Well, to be honest, I went on Jerry's course, and I think... you know, when you're like, oh, buy to let, okay, now buy to lets, rents have gone up an awful lot. But, you know, a couple of years ago, you know, it's just that idea of being one kitchen, one bathroom and 8 rooms, you know. It was actually Jill's, Bank Street that I went to see. Yeah. And I think that's where the penny dropped, and you're like that, right? So you're getting that per room, and that's literally the same as a house, you know, and for one room. So yeah, but again, it was trying to find it. I looked for, I would say, about 18 months to find
the right.
I was pretty
I've only been
scared.
looking a year, so I've still got.
Yes,
I still get.
But for me, the commercial was pretty scary from a valuation point of view, especially because if I'm back 100% investor, how am I going to pay them back? So from that point of view, like the money thing's, you know, my thing. So what I managed to do was buy it in my SAS, but my SAS wasn't big enough, so you can actually borrow 50% of it into the SAS. So then the angels that I've lined up are capital and interest. Right, so it's enabled me to buy a better asset and for in a way not cost you anything.
Yeah,
and I don't need lending. I don't need lending as such. I'm using private investors and capital and interest. So that again, so I managed to get a 6-year investor, capital and interest. So then that works out because of the head lease.
Yeah. And you've bought it with partially tenanted.
Yes.
So what portion of the building do they rent?
Just I've got 3 rooms,
right.
3 rooms out. So
what size of unit is it? Just the context of it.
It's about 1,500 of lettable space. So there's
square meters
8, 9 foot. It's quite small, but it's just like wee bedrooms.
Oh, is it?
It's just like wee bedrooms. Perfect.
Is it fair to say that you're no shy in asking for money? Like.
Shy Bairns getting a suite.
Like I have, again, that's a thing that I often think, I wonder if I could do that, ask people for private investor money. And then I'd be like, oh, you know, I feel a bit awkward, but is it quite natural for you? Do you just build up the relationship, drop it in a few times?
Well, what I do. You ask her how much cash flow she wants and how much her portfolio. I'm like, you.
And you can't ask anyone for money.
No, it's because I need to be certain that I'd be able to give it back.
But in a way, you've got you're sitting with money. You've just said you're sitting with money, so you don't actually need to ask anyone. No, I don't need to.
But if I was to say, one day go like, right, I'm gonna fucking just go for it here. I'm just gonna use all my own money and just build the portfolio, like do a Chris Dale and go like 200 units in a year or something like that.
Yeah, but you could just start small and you could spend the money you've got, and that's maybe a start.
The question was about you. You've obviously built up that confidence now that you just don't mind asking people for money, you know, for the lending.
I don't view it as asking someone for money because you're actually giving them
helping them.
Aye,
better than what they would get in the bank. So that's the way you can put it.
See, especially if it's family and friends, like they want to see you succeed, and if you can help make them more money than they would in a bank, and they get to see you. Like growing,
absolutely.
Then it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I think you've done amazing, and like hats off to you. I said to you after the Glasgow event, what a phenomenal story. So thanks for sharing it with our listeners. Really appreciate it, Elaine.
That's good. Thanks very much for coming in, Elaine.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.